Rolling.
All right, camera set.
It's actually one of my favorite songs.
Whenever y'all are ready.
All right. What's going on, everyone? Welcome to another episode of the Kirio House podcast. Thank you so much for tuning in. I really appreciate it. You know, we started this podcast because being in real estate, we have some incredible conversations with people from all walks of life, all different businesses. And these are great conversations that I take a lot out of and I get a lot of value from. And I wanted to bring those conversations to you. Today, we're talking to Sonny Ojeda, who is from SCOR Media and Marketing. And Sonny, I know you've got your hand in a lot of businesses, and you are a master brander, and you've helped me out a lot with my branding and marketing. So I thought it'd be a great, or that you'd be a great value to bring on and talk to everyone else, and maybe we can, sort of share a message with some other agents who are struggling with the branding aspect of everything.
Yeah, exactly. And excited. Thank you for inviting me, by the way.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, let me do my, like part of the example is I never make a video without going, glasses are on, beard's majestic, followthebeard.com. I'm Kirio to be here today and see what happens. You know,
see, it's branding.
Yeah,
man.
It's branding right off the chute. And you've seen some of my stuff. You know, when I do a video of any sort, it's always bop, bop, boom.
Oh, for sure.
You know, main brand. Since we're here today, yeah, it's branding.
Well, and it's funny though, because that is you. Like
100%.
when I see you, whether it's like I run into you at the barbershop or we
Right.
meet up or wherever, your stickers at Starbucks, like
Right.
it's the beard, the glasses, the awesomeness.
It's a very guerrilla style of branding.
Yeah.
There's some massive brainstorm on the back end of that, and like we'll kind of maybe cover that for some of your audience. And,
Yeah.
you know, kind of like we were talking pillars earlier, like setting the motion for everybody and the importance of it for real estate agents, whatever business you're in. Mm-hmm. We'll kind of hit each thing as we converse. So
Perfect.
yeah, this is awesome.
Yeah,
Been looking forward to it.
Man, I love it. And I really appreciate you coming out. We've been having so much fun doing this podcast and talking to different people. And it's really cool because there's something about getting someone to sit down in the chair and you know that, for the next 90 minutes or so, it's just you and I. We're just talking.
It is. There's an intimacy of it where like we know each other at work, but this is kind of a forced casual conversation.
Yeah.
Forced isn't the positive word for it, but
I know what you mean.
We're here and I'm going to find out way more about you than I could imagine in this podcast format.
For sure.
We've done a guest speaking podcast. It's like, whoa, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I had no idea.
Yeah. So
I love it.
That's what I'm just like, yep. You want me to do it? Let's go. Let's push it out. So,
dude, I'm curious to know what got you in branding. Like, I mean, it seems like something you're just really naturally good at.
Well, thank you for that. I have an amazing business partner, as you know.
Yes.
That helps with the SCOR empire of media marketing. Branding, I think, comes from an inherent like ability to sell background a little bit.
Okay.
Not necessarily like to be a salesman, right? Your line of branding doesn't always have to be to sell something.
Sure.
But recognition, no matter what line of work or whatever we're in, that comes from that. My dad, he could sell, the old metaphors or iconoclast of, I can sell, ice cubes to an Eskimo type thing.
Yeah.
That's my dad.
Okay.
Like just a
He's
massive
this guy that's like selling flowers.
influential.
To
But like, like where it's, and so I grew up in that household watching this guy, just a massive influential dude kind of make every business he wanted to go after, just like you mentioned with me, like there's so many aspects of businesses that I'm in.
Yeah.
Like he would do the same thing. He went into solar, crushed it. He went into everything. And he ended up starting an advertising company as well.
Oh.
And it was massive.
What kind of advertising?
Mainly TV.
Okay.
But just like with my marketing company, you don't stick to just digital, right?
Sure.
But his was, it was a small business oriented business model, and they did the writing, they did the producing, they did the da-da-da for all the TV commercials. And so
Okay.
they essentially bought gigantic slots of time that only big companies could afford, cut them up and sold them to small businesses.
Nice.
So, but then he had to know how to market and da-da-da-da. So I had that like super early,
Yeah.
like just seeing him, and he developed this massive company, 21 offices across the nation, right? So
so he was
that
really
was
doing it.
huge. Yeah.
That's wild.
Yeah. And that was, 20 years ago. So it took me, like I had that, and then it's like kind of sort of came back around.
For sure.
Even though we're wholly different companies,
Yeah.
and run different philosophies and things.
But you're taking all the bits that you got from dad growing up,
Yeah.
and you're applying those, some of them probably
100%.
subconsciously.
100%.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, I think I'm, like you said, very good at branding and marketing, et cetera, et cetera. I don't know if I'm a very good salesman or not.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But the contracts come in just like they did for him. So,
isn't that interesting too? Like,
it is.
These branded businesses that are almost self-sustaining because of the brand.
Right.
People, I think it's the whole know, like, and trust thing.
Right.
No,
like, trust.
Yeah.
Boom.
And so you don't have to sell. They know, like, and trust you.
Exactly. And that's going to be an important takeaway for this, because that's one of my biggest philosophies or my big morals about this is I don't sell anything anymore. My brand does it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I love that.
Like, people are like, with real estate or with investment or property management or with marketing, they just see it happening, right? Versus, hey, I need you to sign up with me, da-da-da, sign your name on a contract. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
I don't ask for signatures on a contract. My brand will take that in and bring it into the fold. That makes sense.
That.
My brand or my company's brand, right?
Yeah.
And so that's something that hopefully we get to and kind of hit on how that happens.
Yes. Yeah,
Once branding hits passive, like it just does it, that's when you're like, wow.
That's like the magic.
That's the point of branding the right way.
Yes.
Especially in real estate.
Yes.
So,
yeah.
But yeah, my background, I think I'm going to give it big props to my dad as far as where that branding came from and what I grew up in. Not just the advertising company, but, we had real estate comes from that kind of, we were massive landlords growing up.
Okay.
So that kind of inherently runs real estate into it.
Sure.
Architecture and history are really why I'm in real estate.
Really?
That's where I just tripped out on all that stuff.
So what's what about like architecture and design kind of gets you going?
So, man, I'm the guy that it doesn't matter what the building is, open or closed, I tried to get into it, right? Like,
Okay.
I think I might have invented urban exploring before it was like somewhat socially acceptable,
Yeah.
No, it's just because I would look at a building, or you go into a house, and we bought blocks of homes, like 20 at a time.
Oh, wow.
As a kid, and we'd go in and clean them out, but they were old, like, 1920s, 1910, 1930s.
Sure.
And so you're already kind of absorbing this history of homes that have been there. You find stuff, and kind of set me off as a little kid, and then you get out of that, kind of grow up a little bit, and then you're looking at the exterior of buildings, start getting into commercial or downtown historic places like, our home here in Guthrie.
Yeah.
And then it's just like, how do I find a way to get into all these that I want, right?
Yeah.
If I had a real estate license or I was associated as a commercial broker, I could pretty much have a key and a conversation to look at everything, right?
Yeah, for sure.
So that was definitely a passion about it.
One of the things I love, honestly, about being able to, I've got my iPad I carried around with me.
Right.
And if I go by a house or something and I'm like, oh man, I kind of want to check that out. I go on and I see like, okay, I can get in 15 minutes,
100%.
You just pop in and take a look around. And it's funny because it's almost, it's like the best excuse because being a real estate agent, you're in the business of sales. And so you want to know your product and what products are available in your area. So you got to get in there and check it out.
Exactly. And at this point, my branding has allowed me to diversify my portfolio as far as what my specialty is.
Okay.
So now it's like you just said, boom, man, I see some agricultural product or a commercial product or a residential product. Then I can give some viability to.
Yeah.
And they're like, hey, man, I want to come check it out. They're like, the beard, yeah, man, go for it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so we get that access and
So-
turn around and flip into a contract for them.
Really?
You know, so
Well, now, so when you say turn it into a contract,
Mm-hmm.
what business are we talking about?
so this, well, I'm gonna mainline mostly with real estate.
Okay.
For clarification. But if my real estate access, because of my hobby or whatever, like I said, I don't go into a building if I'm not, even though I'm just kind of like urban exploring, like we said, if I can't potentially turn around and either market that a little bit for them,
Yes.
which that leads into marketing a little bit. But man, like I said, I have diverse client pool and sphere now that if I walk into onto a farm, I got the group to do that.
Okay.
You know, if I walk into an investment property, I have the contacts to say, hey, they see that, they'll start asking questions, right?
Okay.
And that's from a branding perspective.
Yeah.
Like they're like, Sonny does this, this, and this. And everybody that goes and follows me and they know. Sometimes it's hard to keep up with, and we'll talk a little bit about that,
Yeah.
you know, as part of the branding. Because we're not all perfect when it comes to it.
No. And on the contrary, I think, or what I'm starting to see is, in some ways, it's the imperfection and the humanity of it all,
Right.
that kind of like lends to the success of the branding.
Right. Yeah, 100%. The imperfection and the humanity of it, I think, is what's most important, right? So with marketing and branding, our biggest challenge from a marketing company perspective is to let the client understand that there's a small variance too between like corporate structure that we work with and with, let's say, with Craig, right?
Yeah.
So we do want you to be professional. We do want you to be a real estate agent.
Sure.
But what sells and brands you as your demographic you're hitting, it doesn't matter what your demographic is, what your ideal client is. You got to be you, right?
Yes.
And that's us drawing that out of our clients. That's on the marketing side, 100% always the most challenging, you know?
And that's interesting because, I mean, and it makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
You're going to do your best work as you.
Mm-hmm.
I think a lot of people, I'm guilty of it at times. You know, you kind of have an idea in your mind of, or this model of what you think you should be or how you think you should act.
Right.
And you kind of go along with that, even if it's subconscious.
Yeah.
But it's like, once you kind of wake up and you realize, like, you know, it's okay to be me.
Right.
And people will accept that.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and that's where I think where the real magic.
Yeah, a lot of people. Yeah, you forget to be a person. So to speak. You know, it's like, oh yeah, man, all I'm doing is like just hitting these bullet points.
Yeah.
But then you forget to show up like, man, you know, this is what I did yesterday as a person.
Yeah.
You know, so, and that all fits into the branding structure, which is pretty intense maze sometimes, but it's a lot of fun too if people do it right.
Yeah.
You
No
know,
kidding.
So.
Well, I mean, I'm sure taking a step out of your shoes, looking at, you know, just the success of your brand, you know, follow the beard. I think it's got to be cool for you to look at that kind of in hindsight and see like where you started versus where you are now, that brand recognition and what relationships have stemmed from that brand and the conversations that have stemmed from that.
Right. Yeah. So that's, if we were defining like steps, like the first big step of branding, and this is massive for real estate or anything. So my most important part of it is, you know, outside of the philosophy, you know, kind of touch base on that, but it's continuity, right?
Okay.
So day one, I started real estate. My message has been the same, and I've done it the same way, right?
Yeah.
And I've hit that button every time. Now, as you gain success from that brand, the things you do get a little bit more viral, a little bit bigger. You know, you can afford to do more things, right?
Sure.
I'm not saying you have to go and dump a lot of money at the beginning, because I didn't. You know, you're a real estate agent. When you start out, it's like, well, this isn't the most profitable gig for the first couple years.
And you're dishing out some dough.
Yeah, like, you know, restaurant business, you're looking 3 to 5 years to profitability in the Oklahoma market, right?
Yeah.
So the real estate agent's about, you know, a year to 2 years before you make that profit check, right?
Yes.
So you get into this business, and so I did. My message was always about the beard and about the lifestyle that it's created and about the product, right? An honest view of the product and market. Always stayed on that. So it started garnering, that attention. And as it steamrolls forward, that continuity, it's boom, boom, talk, boom, boom, talk. I knew that the brand had gone beyond itself when I was in the grocery store one day and a kid comes by and goes, "I know you." And I was like, "No, we were just, and he was like, "Yeah, you're the beard guy." And I'm like, boom, man, boom.
Got it. Yeah.
And that's really around the time when the brand had picked up. And if you, like you say, you do it enough and the continuity is there. Like that. And if I look back at when that conversation happened, I was rolling pretty successfully, in my opinion. Like that was my uptick.
Yeah.
Like, boom, the brand's hitting. And then this kid walks in like a week later after we had done numbers, like, "Dude, we're what we consider successful now, right?" And then he's like, boom. And then this kid sits, and I'm like, yes.
Yeah, like everything just solidified. That's awesome.
And
so you were in real estate first.
We did real estate first, as far as, and that was I'm a planner. So like I'm a data guy, numbers guy, kind of knowledge and research. It took me it was a 7-year plan to execute a successful real estate business for myself.
Okay. And so you came into that pre-planned.
Yeah, I signed up with a pretty big commercial brokerage, private investment property equity type place in downtown OKC. I'll keep the name kind of private, but
sure.
I worked for them. Believe it or not, I started as a maintenance man, even with my background.
Yeah.
Then I signed up as a commercial engineer with them. And this was just a history portion. Like, I need to figure out a plan because I knew about real estate, right?
Yeah.
But I also knew it wasn't profitable for the first 1 or 2 years. And also it came with expenses to do it the right way.
Yes.
So I looked for a company that would pay for any classes, anything I wanted, I hooked up with them. They did real estate license, any course I was interested in. They hooked me up, fantastic company, flipped it into a commercial engineer. So now I know superintendent, construction superintendent. I know project builds. Now I got all this knowledge. And then 6 years into that position, I flipped and started a real estate team and just boom. Within 6 months, because of that long plan, we had the 35% of the listing volume in our entire brokerage.
Wow.
Yeah. Like we were pushing.
Wow.
In 6 months, we were pushing $20+ million.
That's gnarly.
Yeah.
Dude. But you know what? Some would say, like, and this is what I would say, you spent 6 years
right
getting that market share.
Right. Yeah, exactly. And that was essentially, that 6 years was a little mix of, the brand was a little bit diluted then, like I was just educating myself, on branding and on marketing and on real estate, and
sure,
also very much enjoying because they owned most of the historic, almost everything downtown OKC.
Oh, hell yeah.
So I was just like, boom, like that was.
So it was perfect for you.
Yeah, I was just like wicked, just going nuts. But
yeah.
Even though I was getting paid too much, the benefits were amazing.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was a 6-year. We had and you kind of want to. So with our marketing clients, we do take the time. Everybody wants to jump in the water, right? And there's a lot of companies out there that'll just, boom, just, all right, let's jump in the water. Give me that check. So we don't do that. We have some foundational processes in place that it lets us get to know the client. And because that brand is, there are pivots in branding, right? But you don't want to jump too quickly, and we want to take our time with that person and make sure that knowledge base of them and that their mainstream philosophy stays the same. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
With adjustments and with growth, right? Because just like in real estate, like if you start in this sector, you can grow out of that. Like that's okay to rebrand a little out of that, your comfort space or whatever it is.
Well, and I think your brand should grow with you.
100%.
Yeah.
Yeah. If you looked at my brand 7 years ago in real estate, it was new construction, expert specific, and now it's just nuts.
Yeah.
Right? Like the best professional word I have is
Nuts.
nuts. But yeah, that was my niche, but because my branding was continuous and the same every time, no matter the product, boom, boom, boom. The people in the demographic that I want, they associated with whatever video or topic I was talking about. Right?
Yeah.
So
That's awesome.
100%.
So would you attribute that initial success to you coming out of the gates branded and you knew, you had that plan, you knew, hey, this is who I am, this is my message. You like you were speaking of continuity earlier.
Right.
And I mean, 6 months into a career in real estate and,
Right. Yeah. 30... It was nice to be like ahead of the curve on it.
For sure.
I mean, it definitely gives you a level of confidence to run with something like that. The brand started, my initial branding was the personality. And I think that's, there's also what type of brand do you have? There's philosophy, there's personality, there's the function, there's different types of branding. And again, like the 5 pillars that Exit Realty has for their agents. It's kind of like, there's way more pillars, but it breaks down to, what do you want this branding to do? What's the point?
Yes.
My branding is 100% personality.
Yes.
Right. With as far as probably everything that you're used to seeing, there is some very professional stuff out there that you're probably not even aware of because you're not in, like, that's not the scope. Like, I don't want that to hit you. But with certain things we do are very professional, and there's no face to those companies, right? Okay. It's like, this is what they do as a structure, and that's what is important for that brand. For me, in this business, whether it's marketing, real estate, whatever else we do, investment, this is it, right? This is the brand.
Yeah.
And
so I'm, man, there's so much that I want to unpack.
There is. Hit me. And
if
we can guide this a little bit too, like whatever direction we need to go.
Well, you know what? Let's start like, I'm kind of interested because I've gotten a lot of great feedback on the stuff that I've started doing.
Yeah.
From other agents in my office.
Right.
And
and for me too.
And from
like
you,
some of the stuff I've seen you do, and I'm like, Craig, this is like, what was it? 2 weeks ago we talked. I was like, man, this is it. Yeah. We're going to hit on this.
Keep honing in on it.
Right.
Yeah.
Like it's a great face. And that's the thing. Like, I feel like even though you didn't start real estate at the same time I do, like, I'm like, it's a different personality. It's a different type, but like what I'm seeing is the same thing. Yeah. Like out there. And it's what that brand is success. Yeah. You know what I mean? And you're killing it. So,
well, thanks, man.
Yeah.
I appreciate
that. It's definitely, that it's positive to see your stuff,
Well, and it kind of feels cool to be like, I got the graphics and everything from Courtney, and dude, it was so cool, to be able to like, because we've been talking about it for so long, and then I get the graphics and I'm looking through and I'm like, wow, like this is it.
Yeah, and you start actualizing it, and it's like, whoa.
Yeah,
you're like, man, this is gonna be a thing.
Yeah, exactly. That's what you think. Like, this is gonna be a thing.
This is gonna be a thing.
And Rod started putting it on, like videos and stuff, and I'm seeing, I'm like, holy crap, like this is legit.
And it starts coming together, and then and that's like a brand infancy thing, but and those things will evolve with you because you're taking the steps to take that message the right way, right? Like, this is going to be me, and it doesn't matter what I do. Like, even if you stay independent or you create your own real estate team under Exit, just like, I'm going to take like 80 guys and just show them what I'm doing. Yeah. Like, that's the path you can do with that type of branding.
That's cool.
Yeah.
So one of the messages that I want to convey to some of the other agents in my office or newer agents is the sort of the power of branding, and also the idea that you don't have to have a lot of money to create a brand. Like, it's not this big $10,000 deal where, you got to mortgage your house to, hire somebody to do this.
Sure. Yeah. So let's talk about maybe the economics of it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, it doesn't, you're right. It doesn't have to have a lot. There's certain certain steps that you want to do once you decide, and you don't have to do those decisions yourself either. That's what a lot of people early branding start getting scared. Like there's people like Courtney and myself and my team that will have a conversation with you. You know, it's not like, hey, just give us some money before we have a conversation.
Yeah.
You know, I think you had quite a few great conversations with us.
Yeah.
And got a lot of direction.
Yeah.
You know, and that's the way we work. We're not there to, but we're not there to make money off everything, but we're there to help build the entire world. You know what I mean? Like we want that. So the economics of it, the most expensive, I would say, is that you call somebody like us and just establish a budget for certain items, right? Like, hey, let me get a market average of what this is going to cost. And then the moment that you're profitable or that you can afford that, or if you have, like I did, saved some money for creating certain things, you know, at the beginning, and then you execute those, and then you let the company profit, and then you grow, right? Some hard spending, and this is to equate if people can, you know, some people can do some of their own stuff, right? So,
Yeah.
I couldn't at the beginning. Like,
I really couldn't either.
Yeah.
I thought about just going online and like making my own logo or something. But,
right.
But branding is so much more than just the logo.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah. There's things that I do very well in marketing, but man, I am not your graphic designer. Yeah. I have an entire slew of them that are amazing. Thanks, guys, because they're going to see this. And they're going to link host to this, all our websites and stuff.
There we go.
Podcast.
Yeah.
But yeah, so those are the guys that do that stuff, right? So, and that brings to economics. One of the things is you get your brand. That and branding is a full package. It's kind of like a vision board type thing. The logo is a part of your brand. It's not just a logo, right?
100%.
The logo isn't. There's mission statements. There's philosophies. There's the way that you personally carry yourself. That's brand. The hard cost, though, logo and that big media file. You want to have that kind of within pretty soon of when you start. Okay. Now there's support like us out there and certain brokerages like Exit, a lot of benefits there, website wise, whatever. So you can always look on that to mitigate those costs. But hard costs is usually your brand package and your website and your social media setup. A lot of people, and social media being one of the most important, is one of the places where you can save a lot of money, right? Like our services at a marketing company, because we're massively digital, even though we do print and TV and radio and the efficiency of the spend is on social media.
And that's kind of just the nature
and
of things.
Digitally. Yeah. So if I was a new person, you know, just covering like, man, I'm going to go for the gusto and listen to the advisors and, you know, and there's some agencies or marketing. Yeah, let's do about 20 grand package, you know. Like if I was throwing something out there, just like, man, what would I need as an upcoming real estate agent? I'd be like, man, give me about $3,000-ish, you know? And that's half a house, or that's not even, you know, a quarter of a house these days.
Yeah.
As far as the commission. And that's something you can grow into as well, right?
Yes.
Like I can sell my first house without my logo being finished, right?
100%.
So let's just put it for real estate agents. If half a house will get you your brand package, and that'll give you a pretty good jump. You know, if you put it in terms of economy, like that's it. Like half a house. Give me half a house commission.
And honestly, like I think that's pretty fair.
Yeah.
Because I don't think anyone really, save for like the person that comes in knowing they want to do this like a part-time thing.
Right.
No one gets in thinking I want to sell 1 or 2 houses a year.
Right.
You know, they come in wanting to do very well for themselves.
Yeah.
And so when you kind of weigh that cost out and say, you know, hey, basically give me half the commission from one sale and we're going to brand you.
Yeah, we'll brand it. This is going to be something that runs for life. You have the support for life.
Yeah.
You know, I mean,
it's massive.
It's crazy. And that's taking into account that you scale as well.
Sure.
You know, we scale almost everybody. Like, man, we were having a conversation the other day and with a potential new client. And it was just like, he's like, hey, where did you get those numbers? I was like, dude, we run those numbers all day. if I can't make it 200 grand off 1% of your demographic, then we're going to, like, we need to rethink what I'm doing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's a great way to do it too, is you take a percentage of the income has to go to marketing, you know? And you don't want to bloat that either. Because if you're just throwing money away at the beginning,
Oh yeah.
then we're not going to have money to develop you when you grow. Right?
Yep.
So marketing isn't that hard from what it is, or branding isn't that hard from what it is just as a concept. It's the execution of it.
Yeah, it's the execution, and like you're talking about tracking the numbers every day. You've got to track your own numbers when you're talking about marketing.
Right.
And so that's why I think we had talked about running sort of A/B tests.
Right.
You know, you run, a campaign 2 different ways or 3 different ways, and you see which one's getting the traction.
Exactly.
And then you dissect that and you say, okay, this one got the most views or engagement or whatever it was you were going for. Why did that happen?
Exactly. Yeah. And then you have to be able to pivot there, like cost efficiency. So one of the things that we're so efficient when it comes to spending actual ad dollars or marketing dollars, like on viraling that brand out, is because we are in a position to pivot within 12 hours of every ad, right?
Oh, that's quick.
So it's us, and you haven't, because that's not, management of the ad isn't, it's how do I put it? It's not the funnest thing, but it's one of the most important things, right? And a lot of people will throw that up and like, all right, let's run that. And then they, close their eyes and let's run this for 20 days. And, we don't fall asleep on it.
Yeah.
You can't, because then I'm spending your money and it's going like nowhere, right?
So if I let's say, because I don't think we've talked yet, maybe we haven't, I just don't remember, but about actually helping on the advertising side. So like, let's say, and you guys have done a wonderful job, really, truly meeting with me, making me feel comfortable. I mean, we met several times before I even gave anyone a dime, and
Right.
But it was because I didn't know. I had all these questions, and I'm trying to get a brand started and build my business, but I don't have a lot of money,
Right.
And so I'm trying to figure out how do I do this? And so you and Courtney met with me, I think 3 times in person, for an hour and a half to talk and hash these things out. But what I'm getting at is, if we were to run an ad campaign, how does that work? Do you guys design the ad for me and then put it out and track it, look at the analytics and all that stuff?
Yeah. So we, when we do reporting, et cetera, everything for me is data. Everything for Courtney is what's the labor look like? Type of what do we need to do to get it there?
Okay.
And then I'm just boom, what do we need to make adjustments? Da, 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 da. Okay. It's a great team. And also the creativity side, we both have a little bit of. So when the advertising budget is first, what's the goal, man?
Okay. What's the goal? What are we trying to do?
Yeah. I noticed, let's take it in terms of TikTok.
Yeah.
Right. Let's do that, since recently I ran some of your numbers. So you're having an average viewership, right? You have an average viewership, and that's just what we do. It's just boom. Especially when something's cool and good, and we talked, a couple weeks back. I was like, well, let me just on the surface run numbers, and I didn't have to look at data. I didn't have to, go look. I just know it from experience.
Sure.
So right now you have an average viewership, right?
Okay. Yeah.
You probably know what that number is,
roughly. And
to have that, man, that means there's a viability there, right? So then we come to you and we say, well, you say, I want to be bigger on TikTok. What do we do there? Right?
Yeah.
And so then that's the goal. We say, well, what do you want? Views, followers, whatever. And you're like, does TikTok promotion work? Da, 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 da. And then we talk about how TikTok promotion works, promote yourself and that kind of thing. And if it's positive for your brand or if it's negative for your brand, right? And then we determine what the overall goal is. Then once you know the goal, then you can forecast the cost of advertising.
Well, and real quick, while we're talking about the goal, what is the difference between, for me, having a real estate business that I'm trying to brand and scale?
Right.
What's the difference in likes versus engagement, or likes versus follows, or
Sure.
how does that impact me as an agent?
Right. So yeah, likes are great. You definitely want the follows.
Yeah. Because I feel like that like builds your audience. So you can
Yeah,
reach more
100%. But it is very complex here, and this is a big topic. You don't want to get caught up in the amount of follows or the amount of people, or like there's certain things that you don't want to get caught up in.
people. Okay.
Like I have no reason. TikTok has made me $250,000.
Really?
I haven't made a check off of TikTok, right?
Yeah.
But contractually, the things that I have gotten from people seeing it, and I'm talking like people here locally or in other places where these clients know me, but now they know me now because of that.
Yeah.
And my TikTok's a goof, man.
Yeah.
It's not.
I love it.
It's not real estate related, but it's follow the beard related, right? And so people just see it's a, like I said, mine's a personality brand, so they see the lifestyle, and they already know what I do, and they want to have a conversation. So there's every factor. Like we don't need to spend money building the C audience, right? Because it's contrary to the goal that we're trying to do.
Mm-hmm.
So why would I spend, $100,000 to bump that?
Yeah, it doesn't
if
make
it
sense.
doesn't add to my business, right? So it is. I mean, you want with likes and follows. Let's increase the audience. But if my sphere, my direct real estate sphere is only 1,500 people,
Okay.
like, and I don't want to manage any more than that. People get added and people get booted. But my sphere, as far as what I want with my quarterly and yearly, annually goals, my real estate sphere isn't that big.
Okay.
March is going to be for example, March is going to be 9 million in listings,
Wow.
and that's from a 1,500 sphere.
Man, that's huge.
And you can check my social media numbers, right? And it's very, even though I'm a personality kind of goofy car guy kind of vibe and lifestyle vibe, everything is oriented to this is the direct audience, right?
Okay.
Like I think Instagram is probably my biggest audience.
Okay.
And we've been somewhat profitable off of that as well. It's definitely not my driver. I think I have most of my sphere integrated and following. This is where it's important on Facebook.
Okay.
And we know Facebook is a major business driver, but I have my sphere converted from any business pages. Anybody that has ever profited from our advice or services, etc., they're more than likely in my sphere on my personal Facebook page, right?
Yeah.
So there, I'm going to curate some ad spend, right, directly for those guys, right? So that is a viable place versus TikTok or likes or follows, et cetera, et cetera.
Okay.
I don't need to spend money getting more people if these people hit my goal quarterly, or annually.
Yeah.
Right? And we develop those ad dollars to hit that goal.
Okay.
And there again, we were talking about, all right, I want to do, my initial brand package, my setup, cool. Then that goal for us initially is to sell you one house that you wouldn't have gotten otherwise.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
And then
Let's give them a return.
you start establishing that budget that way, right?
Yeah.
This is my ad goal. If it's to sell houses, right? Your goal to sell houses is much different than people to know my real estate brand, right? Same vector that eventually they'll cross, but they start out like totally different paths.
Wildly different.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because as a starting off real estate agent, what are you going to tend to do advertising wise? It's got to be your brand that you're depending on, because you don't have any listings, you don't have any buyers.
No.
So what do? You create the brand.
Well, what a lot of people do, or what a lot of new agents do, is they'll post to Facebook or Instagram or wherever.
Yeah.
And not leveraging any new technologies or video. They'll just post in text and say, think of me when you buy or sell your next home.
Yeah.
Or, please, hey, don't forget I'm in real estate.
Which inherently, wow.
Yeah.
And I'll never make a disparaging comment on any type of practice. But
Well, no, but what I mean to say, I'm not trying to put those people down, but I mean to say, like, you're talking about, your brand new agent. If you can leverage your brand and spread your message rather than just say, "Hey, don't forget, I'm over here waiting."
Yeah, exactly. And that goes to the importance of what you want to be viewed as. I never want to be viewed as necessarily new at anything.
Sure. Yeah.
I want to be viewed as the guy that has the expertise
in everything
and
he's doing.
You know it, like just talking to me.
Exactly.
If you've never done business with me, I want you to look at whatever I'm targeting for you, even if it's just this personal conversation. You're going to know that I have expertise to help you.
Yeah.
And I'm never going to have, if somebody ever asks me, "Hey, how long have you been in the business?"
Yeah.
What's the matter, dude?
Yeah.
You want, like, I would hate to say it, but like, you want to look at my lifestyle and see if my 3 months in this business is any good at it?
Yeah.
Or something like that. Like,
what's funny is I hear that every once in a while, but not as much as some people might think.
Right.
Like I heard people ask me when I first got started, like, what do you tell people when they ask how long you've been doing it?
Right.
Like, I don't know. No one's asked me yet.
Yeah.
And
that's great. I think in my entire career, let's take it to real estate. And that's the thing about branding is like, it's about your knowledge and your effectiveness in your industry and for your clients, right? Well, I think the whole time, maybe 3 times, but I get other people that are like, "Man, why do they keep at?" I'm like, "You're sending the wrong message, man.
Yeah.
Your brand's a little wobbly."
Yeah.
And normally when I get those questions, it wasn't somebody that, we're a huge referral business, but normally when we get those questions, it's not somebody that, like, those are those off chance leads, like boom. And those are the 3 times I've been asked that.
Yeah.
And I'm like, don't care.
Yeah.
Like,
well,
this is the way I'm going to answer this question.
Yes. And you know what? It's like no one also wants to hear that agent that, is saying like, "Oh, I've been in real estate for 35 years," and it's like, Debbie, you're 42. Come on, It's,
Right.
But you know what I mean? Like, I think if you have that brand and you can leverage it, I don't even think people will think to ask you how long you've been in the industry because you'll appear to be a professional who knows what they're talking about. And
that's kind of part of it. When we like specialize in new construction, I told you like that was just our massive bag at the beginning. Not one builder, not one builder's rep, not one contractor was ever like, "Hey, how long have you guys been a bit?" And if we would have said 6 months to somebody,
they'd have been like,
Like, I mean, we would have answered honestly.
Sure.
But they never asked that question because we leveraged our brand as expertise in this field.
Yeah.
And everybody knew us and our signs were everywhere.
Yeah.
So why would you ask that guy?
Yeah. You wouldn't.
You wouldn't. And just like you establish yourself as a real estate expert because of the media that you put out, right?
Yes.
And it's like, man, it's not about, dude, like how long have I been driving a car? It's like I'm pretty good at that too, but even I got my license, man. Like it takes some work to get here, and I'm not just jumping into this water without knowing how to swim.
Yeah,
So.
Well, and I always, I mean, I've maybe been asked a handful of times, like 1 or 2 times, I think, to be honest, by a client.
Right.
But I would think another thing I would leverage is, if I was asked that when I first started, I'd leverage the experience of my brokers, because
100%.
I mean, I've got,
and that when it comes to branding, you guys are great at Exit because it's a pretty recognizable brokerage.
Yeah.
And that's, well, man, we have X amount of agents, and our team has 80 million in listings right now. I think we're
doing all right. Yeah.
We have national statistics and state statistics.
Yeah.
Help sell us. That's a great way.
Yeah.
And your brand becomes part of that brand, and you can piggyback early on.
Exactly.
And that goes back to the economics of it. With the right brokerage, like Exit, you can leverage that experience and that recognition to help ease those questions.
Okay.
It's everything relates when it comes to branding and marketing. So
yeah.
Piggyback road, and we did. Like I piggyback road everything that my brokerage put out
100%.
within the 6 months.
Yeah,
you know,
it continues to establish that, or to establish you as a authority figure in the industry.
Exactly.
You know.
Yeah, and your teammates and marketing and we were talking a little bit earlier. Another thing that saves dollars and saves time is teamwork and being open to jumping on a podcast. Maybe if we can get some clarity out of the marketing expert, one solid answer, we can, you say like you build on that too, right? Like it's like, what can we say today that gives some of your audience, man, like, dang, I didn't know that. Now I don't have to pay somebody too.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I know we're trying to get to some of those bullet points, but we're having a pretty good time talking about everything. So
which is
real estate's the way it is.
Yeah. And I don't think you're probably someone we're going to have on a few times because, I mean, this information's gold.
Yeah. Well, and branding is so huge, right? Like if we did we could do 90 minutes just on ad.
Oh, yeah.
When so we're jumping on that, and it's kind of like continuity a little bit earlier. Like we could do entire sessions on that.
Yeah, 100%.
And so, yeah.
I think one of the questions that I have as someone that's, trying to get the brand's feet under itself.
Yeah.
Is like when you think about advertising and marketing, it's hard to narrow your focus to one avenue,
right?
Because it's so easy to become distracted by, like, social media, for instance. You've got how many platforms?
There's so many shiny silver things out there. TikTok. Squirrel, you know what I mean? Yeah, exactly.
So is it advantageous to be able to juggle a bunch and really like work in all those different platforms, or do you need to be that agent that's more have narrowed their focus to, like, okay, my game is like for me, I'm trying to narrow in on video because I feel like it's the media that really is the future.
Sure.
And so I'm trying to get to a point where, like, I don't remember the last time I posted something that was in text, because I'm trying to just get in the habit of now always doing video because I feel like that's where it's going to be.
Yeah.
But am I right in doing so, or should I still be leveraging all of the different media?
Video is the number one proponent.
Yeah.
Right. And so that's, I think we told you this before, again, not to flatter you continuously, Craig, but that's one of the refreshing things is starting to work with you for Courtney and I, is that you don't have that fear and you have good quality and you understand, like that statement right there, should I do video or da-da-da? Yes.
Yeah.
Like if everybody could just get it, like our job would be so much easier.
Yeah.
Facebook just changed their reel algorithm and pumping that out.
Yeah.
Obviously Instagram's popping. Yeah. Now we got TikTok. Doesn't matter what else comes out, it's gonna be video platform, right?
So do you think, and I agree, and I try and spread that message as well.
Yeah.
And I know you could dissect it even further, and you could say, okay, well, now you could work on short form video.
Exactly.
You could work on long form video.
Yeah. Well, and I think like when I walked in the room, you were excited to show me something.
Yeah.
I go, how long is it? And you're like,
you did.
You didn't even give me a compliment. You just asked me how long it was. Because we know putting that out, there are key places you're going to put that.
Yes.
And so now it's not just, oh man, I'm going to make a video, when Facebook really started it, 9 years ago when it was important. And like, that's the thing. If we don't know the video is important right now, like Facebook told us it was important 9 years ago.
Yeah. And
like,
look at YouTube. The number 2 search engine in the world is a search engine designed for video.
Right.
Yeah. That's got to tell you something.
100%. Yeah. It's amazing. So and yes, but the drivers of business, you still look at those, right? So there's, and it all focused down to your goal. If it's just about selling houses, just about branding, yes, you got to do videos, right?
Yeah.
We were doing speaking part of a pretty large corporation, one of our large corporate clients that we have. And it was like, and all these people were salespeople, right? And it was like, hey, here's what I need you to do. Pick up your phone, and go live with me. And it was crazy because there was an echo thing.
Yeah.
I knew it was going to happen, but it wasn't a test on like the quality of video. It was a test on how many of them would do it.
Yes.
Yeah. And like a tenth of them were willing to do it.
And that's unfortunate.
Yeah. Well, and I had to say, hey, look around the room, because these guys are going up and new people are coming in, and everybody that has that fear of getting on video, you won't be here.
Yeah.
I was like, and I told the bosses, I was like, I'm going to be a little harsh.
Yeah.
I was like, because if they're not doing that for you, you're dead in the water.
Yeah.
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah. So, but yeah, video is amazing. And then you got to look at which message format is coming out too, because what's so cool about video, and that's like, it gets so exciting every time, even though the importance has been around, right?
Yeah.
Like the way you have to do it every day is a little bit different.
Yes.
And
That's what I've noticed, dude.
Yeah.
It's continually evolving.
Oh.
And like so at first I was like, hey, I'm going to do long form video, like in the form of a
Right.
podcast, something I'll do every week. And,
Yeah.
you know, be great to have these conversations, be able to market them and yada, yada, yada. And then I hear this thing about how important short form video is in the algorithms. And I start looking at that and I'm like, okay, I guess I need to do that too. And
no, yeah. If you just imagine, like, if you had a banger TikTok or a banger video here, like we're recording, right?
yeah,
And you just had like so many sound bites in one. Like if you were doing this for 90 minutes or so, right?
Yeah.
If we get 90 minutes just and like 30 of it is just like fire, like, you know, comments and stuff. Dude, I got video for 2 months.
That's
I
true.
got 60 sound bites that are going
That's
to
true.
viral me out
Yeah.
on the right platform that I could just, you know, like
You
we
could
could just
pull-
Instagram these.
Yeah.
Yo, how do you make money on Instagram? You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
the sound bites just bang in 15 seconds.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But then you split it up on, you know, we take the time. We got 30, we got 10 banger TikTok videos. Too.
Yeah.
You know?
Especially considering like if you're dropping a video on TikTok or Instagram,
Right.
I mean, you need a 1 minute soundbite or a 90-second soundbite.
You do. Yeah. It's, and you know, depending on how you set up your click funnel, right? Like,
Yeah.
It's like where you're funneling to.
Yeah.
You know, so yeah, you know, a minute is amazing. 3 minutes is awesome. We don't normally suggest anything over 3 minutes, depending on what it is.
Yeah.
You know, so
I think attention spans are getting shorter.
yeah,
and
but
shorter.
15 second, 30 seconds too, man. That's one of my successful areas as far as brand recognition is in that 15, 30 second jive.
How do you
Because people will just be
convey?
like, man, what's this goof doing today?
Or you get those people that, you know, they laugh hysterically at a 10 or 15
Right.
second video and then they watch it 10 times.
Oh yeah,
You
it's
know?
like replay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, and it feels good to hit those kind of numbers depending on what you're doing. Like, whoa, how did I hit 1 million views today?
Yeah.
Because I'm awesome.
Yeah.
You know, but yeah. So it's the video is the importance of it, and this was exciting. You know, every opportunity to do this and share a little expertise and learn stuff, you know, from people as well. It's like, man, yeah, so many people. We are so advantaged. It's so advantageous for people like us. Like, dude, if you don't get in front of the camera, I already have you beat.
Yes.
Like, and that's
Exactly.
it was so funny. My first like big corporate thing where it's like, oh, there's, you know, 50 people out there. That's not even that big now, you know?
Yeah.
But it's like, I was terrified. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
And now it's like, and I tell people like, that's part of it. Like, dude, I'm terrified, but people don't know that.
Same.
Like, I'm okay with being like, dude, this is kind of sketch. You know, like mentally, you got to video isn't anymore for me, you know, not at all. Like, or self-shot or, man, I'll even drag people into it, like, and get them used to it, you know.
Well, you know, I had this massive insecurity with video
Yeah.
for some reason. I don't know why or what it was, but
Right.
I would start to freeze. Like I would have all this stuff planned in my mind that I would say, and then I would hit record, and it was like if I was doing it selfie style, I'd see myself on the screen,
Right.
And
It
then
would
I'd start
throw
like
you off a little bit.
fumbling, and you know.
Right.
And so I struggled for a while, and actually I still kind of do. Like Rod
Yeah.
and I were shooting some marketing stuff yesterday, and I'd have these false starts. You know, I start talking, then I'm
Sure.
like, oh, hold on, back up. You know,
Yeah.
which is natural, I think. But I think a lot of it's just do it. Like
Right.
just
no, and
start.
that's like all the fumbling and stuff just to get yourself used to it. That's why I love the importance of live video, because your audience is going to engage
Yeah.
with you when you're being perfect, because it's not on there afterwards, right?
Yeah.
So like you mentioned there, like one of our coaching things is to do a live video. Why? Because it's going to disappear and it's not going to be there for you, because we would say, don't save it, don't publish it.
Oh my god,
Just do it.
you're making me want to do a live video.
Hell
right
yeah,
now.
man! Like we would kick it all day. But no, that's one of the things, and we do this kind of sales. We call it Snap Yoga because we started it for Snapchat when Snapchat was this, probably needs it. And so what we do is just we have a specific class on specific social medias, and then that class is about specific functions or what you're doing.
Okay.
You know? And with Snap, it's like, so we would force everybody to do a Snap or a Facebook Live, and you would be surprised. Like, and some of these people are just horrible, like absolute, like just terrified. Like, I don't know what I'm, like it's just, and you feel bad for them. But then I'm like, man, do one of these 3 times a week.
Yeah.
All you have to do is get on there and say, hey, my name's Sonny Ojeda. I'm a real estate agent. Followthebeard.com. 3 times a week.
Done.
And dude, now these people that we teach that to, man, they shoot videos like nobody's business now,
Yeah. Yeah.
Because they know
it gets easier. It gets
nothing
easier
negative
and easier.
happens.
Yeah.
If you're not doing anything genuinely horrible
I love that.
to like hopefully you're not beating kids or using animals or something like nefarious. If you're just there talking to the camera and to your audience,
nothing bad
they
happens.
forgive your mistakes.
Yes. That might be the most important message to tell people is like when you're getting over your fear of video, and I'm guilty of it obviously, but nothing bad happens when you mess up.
Yeah, they and the funny thing, we talk about Courtney. Courtney's my business partner, by the way.
Hi, Courtney.
She's amazing. Hi, Courtney. I'm more the guy that gets on video, right?
Mm-hmm.
But man, like she's the more hesitant one.
Yeah.
But you would never know when she pops on video.
Never.
Because she's like, she knows she's giving those classes with us.
Yeah.
And she knows like, dude, nothing's gonna happen.
Yeah.
I may not be as easy with it as Sonny is now, but she's still like, you get up there and anybody can do it, right? And we all seem stiff and we all seem rigid, or we all seem a little floppy, at first.
Yeah.
It's really just getting comfortable with this inanimate box that's looking at you.
Yeah.
Your audience,
Dude,
is going to hate on you. They won't at all.
Yeah.
We're infallible people. Mistakes endear us to people.
I like that perspective.
Yeah, 100%.
It makes you human.
Yeah, and also we have to send that message that way because we got to get people in front of the cameras if they're going to be a success.
That's true.
Yeah. I mean,
yeah, I think video marketing's incredibly impactful. And, so when I think about like real estate style marketing, for instance, what like some traditional avenues for marketing in real estate would be like the mail outs, cold calling, door knocking.
Right.
I think of all of those, the single most impactful is actually door knocking, because it puts you in front of the consumer or the homeowner immediately and allows you to convey your personality and make that or build that rapport, make that connection right there, right now. Well, I think video is the next best thing.
Sure. That's your door knocking.
Yeah, exactly. It's not just you posting some text saying, hey, check out whatever address, or call me for a free tour or something.
Yeah.
You're conveying that message live in person. Like you can see me, and
yeah, 100%. Yeah. And I'd like to see, we were talking about people making the announcements and stuff, like I'd love to see when I start seeing everybody do this, then I'll know that flip has happened in the industry where I'm going to have a lot more competition.
Yeah.
Right? But I would like to see, kind of similar to what you were saying, like, oh, I got my real estate. I would like to see somebody going up, like maybe just rolling up to Oric and be like, I got my, let's rock and roll. Like I want somebody to make a video of that.
Yeah.
And when I start seeing that being the mainstream of them becoming a real estate agent video, then I know we're in trouble.
Yeah.
And
it's such a good idea. Yeah. I toyed with it when I first got started. I was like, should I embrace social media right out the gate from the perspective of, I just got licensed, let's do this.
Let's rock and roll.
And I think I didn't end up going quite that route because I was afraid, well, would I be limiting myself because I'm telling everyone, hey, I just started.
Yeah.
Basically.
Right.
But I think there's a power to it.
There is, in a sense, yeah, for sure. And like I said, it depends on who you are and how your audience knows you, right?
Mm-hmm.
So for me, they would never expect me would be like, oh, I'm new.
Yeah.
Like that's not something I'm jumping into.
Yeah.
But if your audience is, dude, this dude kills every project he starts.
Yep.
Like if you're the entrepreneur that I know that you are, then people are going to be like, yeah, we're rocking and rolling on this one, right? So we did too. And video was so clunk, 6-7 years ago
for sure.
when we, especially the Facebook being the pusher of it, the gradient, the quality, the HD, it's like,
it was rough.
like I look back and I'm just like, what was happening there? Like we didn't have this equipment, right? Like,
no.
I felt like it was in the 1940s or something,
and
when we
now
look
it's
back,
it's funny now because it's the opposite, and instead of it being a little pixelated or having some
now
tracking,
it's like you can shoot movies on it.
You can
full
see like your
cinematic
pores and
experience.
all this stuff, and you're like, oh,
I got
man.
I got a buddy right now. He's got something. He's got a development mod on a cell phone coming up, and he's just like the pictures he's taking, like astrology wise, or of the moon, and I'm just like,
oh yeah,
dude, you're gonna be able to see an astronaut with that thing, like if they're on that thing.
It's
You know
a
what I mean?
Cell phone,
Or on a cell
whatever.
phone. Yeah, I was just legit on a cell phone. I'm like, one, I need to get on this because this is my line of business. You know what I mean? But, like some of the stuff, it's insane. Even the stuff I have in my pocket right now is nuts.
Massively powerful.
Yeah, and it's like, so we basically have, now they're starting to promote with the iPhone the movies that they're producing as part of their marketing. Like, dude, we shot this whole movie on an iPhone.
Oh, I haven't seen that.
And these are like blockbuster flicks, man.
What?
That are about to pop off. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
That's kind of cool.
Yeah. Google that when you're done. Like,
okay.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And like we were talking to Rod earlier, like, man, we're waiting for a little bit of profit. I'm going to get this equipment, get that equipment.
Yeah.
And then like that market becomes so much more competitive.
Yeah.
We're big in one of my sidelines is we were huge in car scene, like all over the place, all over the state.
I'm not surprised one bit.
Yeah, well, that's one of the reasons I drive all these weird cars. No, but like the dudes getting the shoot stuff for like everybody. Like these are kids, man. Like, and they're pulling off like, I say kids, like 25. You know,
Yeah.
That's me kicking it at 55 years old. Like I'm that guy now.
Yeah.
But man, I see them like shooting rollers, and they're just mount, like it's part of their mod for their cars now is like mount where the camera's gonna go.
Yes.
Like these, the kids just fresh out of high school, like, yep,
yeah,
this is how
they got a
roll.
GoPro on the back.
Yeah,
the front,
8
everywhere.
GoPros, it's insane, and those guys come with innovation on that kind of stuff, and as a hobbyist in that thing, I'm like, and as somebody that has a marketing company as well, like we're paying attention to that. It's all video.
I agree. And you said something that kind of resonated with me, and it struck this idea. I wonder what some of these more seasoned, older agents think of someone like me that's coming in that, I haven't been in it long. Let's call it, let's say a year, a little over. But I'm coming in like firing, I know what I want. I'm going after it.
Sure.
And, nothing is safe, so to speak.
Right.
Like,
yeah.
I wonder, do you think that you'll see some of these older, more seasoned agents start to embrace video or embrace these different forms of marketing and advertising, or are they kind of stuck in like the mail out sort of era?
Right. So we will see, I'll guarantee this, and this is a running joke in the real estate industry. If you're, there's successful agents that have 2-3-year-old headshots still as their, and that's like being nice.
Yeah.
But there's still plenty out there that are 20 years old on their headshots, and like on their marketing material. Yeah. And it's like, those are the guys that won't embrace it.
Yeah.
But if their company is big enough, they may have enough money to throw at it to change and evolve that for them. But I don't see it's tough, because let's say if I was back 20 years, right? Mm-hmm. And like I have the wherewithal to be there. The people that are going to get it is who's branding and are up to date right now. Okay. From how long have you been in this business, right?
Yeah.
If I've been in this business 15 years, then even my current marketing and my current branding would be wholly different, right?
Yeah.
Because mine is an evolution to where I go.
Yes.
Right. But if my marketing, I'm like, man, no, this newsletter works. Man, the words newsletter, man.
I swear to God, this weekly newsletter.
Yeah. It's really
tearing it up.
This is hitting fire in my neighborhood.
Yeah.
Like everybody's reading this thing.
Yeah.
What? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's still your picture. So this, seasonally, like the seasoned experts in our field, professionals, love them all. It's amazing, and they've been super successful. But if they're starting to struggle, the biggest indicator is that this has always worked, right?
Yeah.
So the past 10 years or so.
Well, it's an evolution.
Yeah, when you get stuck in, and this has always worked, and that's the thing, and it's not just a headshot, right?
Yeah.
It's like, dude, you haven't updated this for 20 years. That means you haven't updated anything else.
That's true. Wow.
Yeah.
Actually, when you think about that,
you haven't updated the way you sell your client's house.
Exactly.
You haven't updated the way you service this client. You haven't updated, this. Your data is still the same. Your metrics are still the same as they were 20 years ago.
Yeah.
If I see that headshot.
Yeah.
And therein lies that problem, right? But if your brand and logo's up to date and and you just haven't I haven't jumped into this pool yet, then I guarantee that data and those metrics and that service to that client is probably pretty up to date. Yeah.
So would you say it's still advantageous for someone that, let's say they've been in the industry for 15, 20 years, like a good chunk of time.
Sure.
And they've seen some success. They've done their things that have worked well. Is it worth it for them to embrace these newer media?
I do. Yeah. I think unless you want to, if you've been in it 20 years, if you're planning to retire in 5 or 10, then don't bother.
Yeah.
You'll put yourself out of business.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
But yeah, 100%, man. If you want to, if I'm in it 20 years, right? And I want to push, then my business goal should change a little bit. Okay. But yeah, I need to start pushing video, because if I'm going to leave a real estate brokerage or a real estate team to my partners or the younger realtors that we work with, then yeah, man, I need to start making that transition. So when they get there, their fight isn't as big as it should be, or as costly as it needs to be, or as labor intensive as it needs to be, right?
Yeah.
So you always have to look behind you to where you're going to leave as well with branding.
That's an interesting concept. I hadn't really thought.
Yeah.
I hadn't really thought too much about that as well.
Yeah. I mean, if I don't want to be wholly representing my real estate team for the rest of my life, then I have to switch that branding to growth, right? And video's all about growth.
Yeah.
Just within the social media platform, why'd they grow? Well, because they're doing video. TikTok's massive because a video platform.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So
I think, I just had this thought, but I wonder if an older, more seasoned agent, if they're looking at transitioning or retirement,
right.
And a big thing right now is for real estate agents, selling off their database. That's sort of your retirement.
Yeah.
And so I feel like there could be the added benefit of when you start that transition, you kind of embrace video as the marketing media,
right?
And bring in that new blood, whoever it is,
100%,
and start almost introducing them through video and
right.
having these conversations together. And then, after a year, 2 years or whatever, however long,
yeah,
then, they kind of take over that platform,
right.
And it's a seamless transition into the new business.
100%, man. That is the way some of it's been done. I mean, what you said right there, that's the key, man. That transition is just man, let's do this changeover. We're fortunate enough to have some clients that we got to be a part of that.
Yeah.
Pretty recently, as a matter of fact. And it was the old guard with the new guard coming in.
Yeah.
And so what we did before the change up happened, we went in a quarter before and started laying down the script. Now, granted, we normally want to be there a little bit before that, but that's the timeline contractually that everything was going down. So we made that happen, made that work, and it was and it flipped.
Yeah.
Everything was post with text type thing,
yes.
And no continuity. But then boom, when the transition happened, it was already set.
Yeah.
So it is important. And I think, no matter what you're doing as a real estate agent, whether you're new or you're old, if you want to stay in the business, if you want to be successful at it, and you want it to be a heck of a lot easier on you,
mm-hmm.
That video is a massive part of your branding.
Yeah.
You know, and I will say this, just for those regular people out there, or the, you know, seasoned or not, or the type of people that are against. I know some massive players, like, just like, how do you do this? He's like, well, I make 30 calls a day. You know, I don't want to dial a phone.
Yeah.
You know, but they're massively successful.
Yeah.
Don't do social media. You know, but my dialing the phone is the video, is the TikTok, is the Instagram, is
Thank
the
you.
Vero. You know,
So,
popping out.
and I can't talk shit about phone because I started out, you know, circle
Right.
dialing and
Working
and
the
using
phones
Red
is
X.
massive.
Yeah. I mean, you know, more than anything though, I
Yeah.
think what I took from that was the confidence to have a conversation
Yeah.
about buying or selling real estate.
Right.
And not all the conversations were good.
Yeah.
Some of them I got beat up on,
Right.
but it's totally cool because I learned from
Yeah,
every
it's
single
an
one.
amazing practice.
Yeah.
Like, and that's what I mean. There's to everything we're saying, there still is that avenue. I think that window to continually make those calls or send those letters, that window gets smaller and smaller every day with what's happening. But like, you know, we say that and it's like, I don't bag on them too hard. But here's the thing: is you're working way harder than I am. You know, I don't actively advertise anything I do.
Yeah.
And we get X amount of new clients in every day.
Well, I think that's the ultimate goal
Yeah.
of branding yourself and then marketing that brand is that it becomes passive
Exactly.
because then you just get to be you
Yeah.
and the business comes.
Right. And there's no such thing as passive income realistically.
Yeah.
Right? Real estate, you know, landlordish. That's the closest one probably outside stock market and things like that. But
you're still working.
you're
on
still
the
yeah, exactly. You're still working on the, but I do inherently believe in passive marketing.
Okay.
Like, man, even, you know, when times are so like busy, our development projects can be pretty huge at times, right? We're working on 2 apartment complex situations in a senior housing development as well right now, and just those 3 projects at the same time.
Yeah.
Are rather large, and so I can just kind of turn my marketing switch off for a minute and be as busy and you know, but then of course there's things that I'm going to do to make sure it keeps, like, I don't lose any traction.
Yeah.
But I can also, like, man, I had to turn this down so I can do this.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
But you're saying that while you turn it down on
It's still
on
passively out there,
creating
just
new
like, I don't have to
media.
do anything actively.
It's still
I turn it off, and passively the team is still collecting that data, and, you know, hey, Sonny, you know, it's like those leads are still getting captured.
Yeah. 100%.
Like, that's passive.
Yeah.
And that's like,
That's
when I no longer have to spend an advertising dollar to gain new money,
Mm-hmm.
and it's just that maintenance money, man, it's so much different.
That's gold.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Maintenance money is so much cheaper than active money.
I love that.
Yeah.
Man, and I'm a big believer in building avenues for income, multiple avenues for income,
Right.
because I think, you know,
We are definitely in the hustle society.
Yes.
And that's one of the areas you and I know just live so comfortably in,
yes,
you know?
I mean, because really, when you just embrace it and you say, hey, okay, in order to be successful in this day and age with
Right.
this technology,
Right.
like you said, we're in a hustle society. You got to do it.
Yeah.
But you can also take solace in the fact that if you do it
Yeah.
and do it right, you know,
Right.
but just do it and do it consistently,
Yeah.
like your brand,
Right.
that everything else will just happen.
It does, and you know, there's like, you know, Gary Vee out there, and
Oh, yeah.
some of those other guys with similar philosophies and things. But, you know, Gary's like, work 100 hours a week. You know, I'm like, nah, bro.
Not going to happen.
I'm setting myself up so I can dip and have fun, and, you know, and let that brand work on that for me.
Yeah.
And that's why I'm like, mine's personality and kind of lifestyle oriented,
Yes.
because I have this goal, and it's not super greedy, and it's not but I have a financial goal where everybody's happy around me,
Yeah.
and I get to do dope stuff,
Yeah.
you know, and that's my limit, you know, and everything else goes to investments or goofing off. That makes me happy, right? So I don't want to grind 100 hours a week.
No.
But if you look at the portfolio of businesses or assets that I've established, be like, how does this dude You know what I mean?
How
Like,
does he have time?
right. Or how did he get it all?
Yeah.
And it's one is my marketing. You know, I got it all. And then you delegate that stuff out. So it's like,
There you go. Systematize it,
yeah,
delegate it, scale it.
yeah. So it's, everything. It's amazing. Hustle society. Like, I don't let the brand rest. Like, it'd be weird. Like,
That's an interesting. I like how you said that. You
Yeah.
don't let the brand rest.
right.
It takes no time off.
Yeah. Yeah. and it's funny. Like, you know, just if I don't want to go out one day and have conversations or whatever and just, you know, do nothing, cool. 'Cause
Yeah.
the stuff's out there, man.
Yeah.
Tomorrow I'll have somebody to call.
So do you have like a schedule for new content that you put out something daily, weekly, or monthly, or what's your kind of go-to?
Okay, so personally,
Yeah.
and this is where that continuity thing kind of gets a little foggy. My
Yeah.
personal brand, which is the biggest force of let's say finance for me or income. I have a pattern, right, for my personal brand.
Okay.
Let me put it that way. Like I said, depending on what you want to do, everything's different.
Yeah.
Each of the businesses have set schedules. Does that make sense?
Okay.
So every company we have has its own social media or whatever we're implementing for that. And some
Yeah.
of it, you know, keep it to myself. But the professional side of everything has a set schedule, and it has a set pattern of how it does it, and it's like clockwork.
So when you say it has a set schedule, what I'm picturing in my mind is that you have lined up the media or the content to be dropped at a specific time, weekly or daily.
100%. Yeah, we have it dropped. We look at what's this company's focus group, and when are they looking at the internet, and what type of content, and what platform, or what delivery, like video, or are they reading something? Are they reading an article? And so those are formatted to that hour or within that time frame of that day of the highest peak to do that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
So there's a lot of
All the businesses do that. Yeah. And then personally, because, and you're right, personal branding, heck yeah, man. Like, I totally scheduled it, and I was like, okay,
This is what I'm gonna do.
every week I need to do this, you know? But you know, then you determine your business based on your life and what you want it to be. And I don't, like, for me, we're helping so many people do that now, that my personal brand, is so, man, what's a good positive word choice for that?
Well, you said nuts earlier.
Yeah, it's nuts.
just nuts.
It's so nuts that we're on so many platforms. Like, you know, we're still developing how that's playing out. Like, we're doing a whole podcast, linking share thing, which we're excited to get this on.
Yeah.
That's just going to start banging, you know, and it's like, and this, you know, and everything rolls in like SEO and stuff. But yeah. So let's put it this way: if you're just starting out, yeah, you got a schedule.
Okay.
And you have a format, and you need to stick to it.
Yeah.
And you got to do it.
Yeah.
You know.
Consistency is key.
But I also recommend, like, not doing projects that are like, you know, this is our Taco Tuesday podcast. Da, da, da. You know, like, don't pigeonhole yourself.
Yeah.
To something like that, because what if they don't have the preparation? Like, I knew you could do that because of the way we talked about, like, this is dope. This is the way we do, you know, like before I got here.
Yeah.
Like, this is the way you handle your podcast, right?
Yeah. Yeah, I'm very, very.
Some people
loosey-goosey.
do that.
I mean,
Some people do that, and then they're like, "Yeah, this is every Tuesday. I'm going to shoot this thing," and I'm like, "No, man, that's not how it works." Because the second you stop, you've let down your audience.
yeah.
And
Then you don't have.
then that continuity it's not there,
Yes,
right?
Exactly.
Does that make sense? So yeah.
And that's one of the things that I don't know if I just picked this up naturally as I was starting to think about video and content creation, or, you know, whatever. But I realized that you've got to be consistent, and so you got to work up that plan, identify the things that you're going to do, whether it be daily, weekly, monthly, whatever it is, and then stick to it and just do it.
Right.
What I found is batch shooting content helps tremendously.
Right.
And so, you know, I'll pick, like, for instance, Sunday is my podcasting day, right?
Yeah.
Or I might take a Sunday night or a Saturday sometime or whatever evening,
100%.
and I might shoot 4 or 5 videos that I can post on IG
And
or
that's
TikTok
how
or
you
whatever.
succeed. Like the 100%. If people are just like, oh yeah, dude, what if, I get stuck in a ditch on one day and I can't make it to the thing.
Oh, I've
Like the
got a video right here I
likelihood that
can
I'm going to
post.
be able to shoot all my material, and it works. Like for each platform, have a different day or whatever. You're like, what am I doing? Oh, I'm doing my 15-second stuff.
Yeah.
I need, an hour's worth of that. Boom, 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 boom.
Yeah.
Hour, I'm done. 6 months worth of stuff.
There you go. And
That's
I mean,
a little
it's
too
just,
far out, but you know what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Like in this business, you could legitimately just do 356, however many days in the year. 356 days? Is that how many
65.
Yeah, right.
just dyslexia.
Yeah. 365 days a year. You could legit just like, okay, I'm going to take 30 days, knock this out, and then my marketing's done.
Yeah.
Theoretically.
That's kind of
Theoretically.
what I want to do. Not on a year scale,
Yeah.
but if I can knock out all of the content for a month,
Yeah.
that's killer.
Yeah, and then then the job is to pepper it with the fresh, kind of new, exactly according to what happened Tuesday or Wednesday. Oh, like, hey guys, and then you just throw in a couple little things.
Yeah.
And then it's so much easier.
It just flows.
Yeah, marketing can be super laborious and just like, oh my god, it's super grindy, or it can be creative and fun.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
I prefer the
It's a
creative
little
and fun
laborious
idea.
regardless, but the fun makes it not so much.
Yeah.
Like setting all this up, a little laborious, right?
It was a little boring.
Editing is, man, I lose my mind editing sometimes.
But
Some people really enjoy it. But
well, and I got to tell you, man,
Yeah.
there's something cool about when, like with this podcast,
Right.
we just launched it 2 weeks ago
Yeah.
or 3 weeks ago.
yeah,
And the sort of welcoming, and we're not reaching thousands of people,
yeah,
but I get people, especially around Guthrie in this area.
sure.
Like they're like, hey, dude, we really like what you're doing, man. This is going to be great. And
Yeah.
they're talking about it. And that at the end of the day is what branding's all about, right? You want to get people talking about you and what you're doing.
100%. And I think with, it's kind of neat, Craig, that you mentioned that, because one of the exciting things about this is kind of being at the forefront of a little, digital mecca or a little town that's going to be like, it's there. Like,
Oh yeah.
Guthrie's going to be in, like, the Chamber just started their podcast. That's a fun one to be
Yes.
on. Hetty Coleman's been a long staple. Hetty?
No.
No, go in. You need to check him out.
Okay.
He's been kind of proponing tech and stuff here in Guthrie for quite some time. And, he was one of the first.
What's his name again?
Hetty Coleman,
Hetty Coleman.
big, super inspirational guy. I'll have to make a personal introduction.
Yeah.
Ask Eddie who he is. Eddie will know who he is.
Okay.
Pastor Life Church, motivational speaker, just a wonderful, wonderful human being. Actually,
This sounds like someone I need to know.
one of the podcasts you'll be sitting next to in the link hosting will be one of his.
Okay. Perfect.
And he's done it. He I think he was one of the first, like, in this town to do. He was kind of set up social media marketing wise in Guthrie that inspired me to kind of make the decision to house this marketing development company here and give it a shot. You know what I mean? Like,
Dude, I think
Let's-
there's so much more
yeah.
potential in Guthrie than people give it
Right.
credit for.
right. And it's kind of a brand thing too, because my personal brand is kind of a smaller town, very metropolitan,
Yeah.
but definitely a small town guy,
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
well, and you have an agricultural background too,
Yeah.
right? So I don't ever want anybody to forget that,
Yeah. Wow, that's an interesting point.
Mhm.
You kind of want to showcase everything.
Yeah.
And I mean, I have some like borderline insecurity about my jobs because I've done a lot of cool things.
Yeah.
The way I kind of look at it is, man, I spent and I had a couple of years where like I struggled with addiction. I had massive depression.
Sure.
I lost my mom and my sister a couple months apart. So it was like
Yeah.
I was dealing with losing my mom and then I lost my sister.
Right.
And so I struggled for a while, but I kind of look back at the different careers that I've been in as me trying to find out like what I want to do. I mean, if we have to work to be able to build an income and live, then I want to find something that I like working at or something I like doing.
Right.
And so, whether it be retail sales or, marketing in some form or another, farming, working on movies or selling real estate, like
Right.
I'm just looking at it from the perspective of this is me learning and finding out what I want to do.
Sure. And it's kind of, and that's a great, we were talking about, kind of touched on that earlier. It's like the hustle vibe, this people's backgrounds now, and I'm actually a little older, than your generation to say this, but for some reason I just like I'm running in the same mentality, right?
Yeah.
It's our ability to pivot, right?
Yes.
Like, dude, I don't care how much money I've made, if I've made any at all, or what my lifestyle is right now, but I'll totally pivot, man. I'll go work at Love's if I have to.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I'll be like, man, I don't know what it's like to work there.
Yeah.
I'll do it.
Yeah.
And I've done really crazy things. Like when I went to be a maintenance man for I was in 6-figure executive at a massive tech company.
Oh, wow.
Before.
And then you got to be a maintenance.
I was like, I'm out, dude. And then I was like, boom. And I went. And then what I decided on was that path because I wanted to chill and kind of take my life back to minimalism.
Yeah.
And take it back to, and I left in a positive way, like, but I don't care what anybody sees me doing because I'm doing it right.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I like that.
And so I'm not afraid to tell them about my faults in life, or any of the jobs. If that doesn't add to the character or to the professionalism or the knowledge base that you have from the client's perspective, then that's a client I'm not working with.
That's it's a unique perspective, but I like that.
Yeah.
Because I say like your vibe attracts your tribe.
Sure.
And I want the people that want to work with me.
Right.
I don't want to fight someone to work with me. I don't want to try and convince them. I want the people that are like, I like this guy.
Sure. Yeah. And you have to, and for realtors, the right type of branding too. This is what I enjoy as any of my businesses is you get to pick your partners.
Yes.
Like I don't really have clients anymore. Now they're partners.
Yeah.
Because if I'm spending time with you, I'm investing in that just like you're investing to make yourself better with us, right?
Yep.
So with anybody now, and I think that's when your branding gets to the point where you can pick and choose how you spend your time and the value of your life, not even necessarily the value of your time, but the value of your life, then your branding is just kicking off. Like, man, I know for the first couple of years I got to take everything, or at least try to take everything within mentally reasonable bounds that I can.
Yeah.
But to slough off the toxic deals and
that's
toxic people or broken clients or broken business partners, that's when you really hit a niche there with branding. It's like if I put my personality out there, just like you said, the tribe, man.
Yeah.
Like these people are gravitating towards somebody that they want to work with.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah. And then that makes that life a lot easier.
Well, and also when you reframe it, because one of the things that I try and tell other agents in the office or people that I'm talking to about, onboarding into the company and exit and everything, I tell them that being a real estate agent, I think, is no longer a sales role.
Right. It's not.
It's gone.
Yeah.
And I think the sales tactics need to go with it.
Right.
Like we are now at a point where,
like, what do you mean we're salespeople?
No.
If you're selling this house, you're doing your client a disservice.
Exactly.
Get out of here, man.
Yeah. I think it's an advisory role.
Yeah.
And I think you need to just demonstrate that you have the knowledge and expertise to be able to take care of your client and make it as seamless and as easy for them from start to finish.
Right.
That's it.
Yeah. And if we put it like in leagues in that arena, and this is where I'm very competitive. Like I'm like, because that thing, what do you mean you're selling this house? Especially on the buying side.
Yeah.
Selling, yes, inherently you have to sell this house, right? On the listing side. But that's like 25% of it.
Exactly.
That's marketing material, your sphere and your contacts, right?
Yep.
The other part is what you're doing with the activity on that. That's where it comes like, okay, this is where knowledge and all that stuff kicks in. But like on the buying side, if you're selling a house, man, don't do that on my team.
Exactly.
Yeah. You better know everything about this house if it's in the forefront of what they're doing. But this is where I like to be somewhat cocky, so to speak, is I will murk you like on contract knowledge, regulations.
Yep.
Like, but I never say
But see,
it.
that's the
Yeah.
stuff you need to know, because going back to an advisory role, when you're put in a situation where your
Right.
client needs that information, you've got it.
Or you have the ability to get it outside of going, asking somebody at your brokerage.
Yes.
Like, dude, you just asked somebody, you didn't go look it up. That you still don't know it.
Yeah.
You're relying on somebody else's knowledge, and you didn't prove to yourself that it's true.
Yeah.
Like,
and,
that drives me nuts.
And I think your ability to retain that information when
Right.
you go looking for
Yeah.
it is so much higher.
Some of the phrases that we stay on our team, like to stay away from, we were talking about how long you've been in the business. If an agent says, I've been doing this for X amount of years, they've instantly lost against me.
Yeah.
100%. And I love to hear it. When an agent says, and this is even a worse one, is, well, I live in this neighborhood. I've lived in this neighborhood for 5 years.
Yeah.
I ran into that and I said, cool. She undersold her client's property, 2 of them, by 30% less than I sold mine.
Really?
2. Like, so she basically gave away $75,000 of her client's money.
Whoa.
Could you imagine being like,
No way.
and that's just hey, I not like, because she knew the neighborhood, right?
Yeah.
But then she didn't read the data.
Yeah. And they're one and the same, but 2 completely different things.
Completely different things.
Because if I'm farming a neighborhood,
Yeah.
I'll know
Yeah.
about all the
You're
sales
like, hey,
that
I'm
happen
here,
there.
like, I'm your neighbor. Like, you can trust. Like, that's different
Yeah.
than running your knowledge base
Yeah.
because you live there.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
For sure.
Yeah. Like, I know the community and I da. But dude, the world is data driven.
Yes.
Everything.
Yeah.
They're watching. Yeah. No, but so I know I have those people dead to rights, whether we're in a negotiation or in a listing kind of standpoint.
Yeah.
Those 2 are red flags, and I'm like, you're not on our team. If it's a recruitment thing, nope. Like, that's, and there's different versions of it, of course. But like, I mean, like, we've heard. I'm sure you've heard it. Already. Is like, man, one lady was like, I've been in this business 35 years. I'm like, well, cool, you're wrong. So
Because, I mean, and honestly,
And I'm
even
not
if you've been licensed for
Yeah.
35 years, the market has changed so much in those 35
Right.
years, and the way that business is being done has
Exactly.
changed so much that
it's not just about the continuing education.
yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, the commercial branch of our stuff, like what we do commercially, is like time-wise is less absorbent of our schedules. But from a knowledge standpoint, it's like, dude, like, you got to keep, like, that's some dangerous stuff you're playing with, right?
Man,
And it's like, you have to, like, you always, like, every day you have to be calling somebody to figure things out, you know?
But that's a cool spot to be in because you're learning, you're
Exactly.
finding the
Everything you
answers.
don't know, like, there's something new there every day.
Absolutely.
Because there's so many different types of businesses, et cetera, et cetera. Then it's like, okay, like, we have certain properties we ran the metrics for, and this is going to be perfect. But then somebody comes out the chute and from a different industry you weren't expecting. Then you have to have the guys like, okay, guys, we need like a package figure if this will work in this location, if it's good. It's like this whole new learning thing.
I'm getting my feet wet in commercial right now.
It's great.
I've got I'm on the buy side on a deal, Southwest 74th and Council.
Yeah.
And it's an awesome place. It's 4.7 acres. We got a big shop with roll-up doors, wash bay for trucks and everything.
Yeah.
The client is actually a buddy of mine from the film industry.
Awesome.
And so it's cool, like, getting to work with him because it's someone I know, we vibe. We actually, like, I'll make it a short story, but we actually both we came out of the same small town in California to Hatchapee.
Oh,
and
what
it's funny. We were there about the same
And you
time.
both ended up?
Ended up here. It's
Oklahoma's
the wildest
weird,
thing,
man.
dude. It's like
So weird.
Yeah. I don't know how it works.
Yeah.
But man, I was having a lot of fun on that deal because I'm learning things like that I had no idea about.
Right.
There's an underground petroleum storage tank.
Right.
And
Dealt with that stuff. Yeah.
so he wants it removed, and I'm like, well, I don't even know how to go about getting that started. And so then, I learned about the corporation commission and this and that and the environmental specs and everything.
And see, like, that's the difference. And you did that yourself.
100%.
Like, you didn't have anybody like, how do I figure it out? And now, granted, that's one experience that you have so far, but now it's not going to stop you from the next one. Your next one's going to be quicker.
Exactly.
Yeah, we just went through removing some oil waste tanks.
Did you?
Like, and I was like, cool.
Yeah.
Like you said,
Been here,
at
done
least
here.
I have a portfolio of the path to take.
Yes.
You know what I mean? So,
Exactly.
and that's great. You just absorb it and you take it in, and you can have like it's weird. Here's what real estate like. That's great. Like you evolve into that, right? Because granted, it sounds a little bit like he knew you as well, but he knew the type of person you were and your work ethic and how you do your life, right?
Yeah.
So I would say, even though he knew you, that was your brand.
Yeah. I mean, he didn't have to call me.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah.
You know, and he was like, well, I know because of the way Craig lives his life and represents himself that he could probably handle this.
Yeah.
Even if it's not what it looks like. Like he's not looking at your niche of real estate right now. Somehow he knew you were a real estate agent, right?
Yeah.
Like when you hook back up. Like our real estate evolution, and that's where the development company side of the marketing came from. Like, you know, somebody just brought me a landscaping company, so to speak. No land real estate assets. Just came to me because now they know I'm big in investment properties and da-da-da. And they're like, hey, I got X amount of contracts that I need to sell for X price. They seasonally make this much. So I'm like, cool. Yeah, I can sell that.
Yeah.
And it's real estate related because it's, you know, landscaping or
I mean, yeah.
it's you know what I mean? And that's where the hustle game like never stop. And this man, I
never even thought about that.
Man, by the end of the week, I may own a landscaping company because the numbers work so good. I might even shop it to my guys.
Yeah.
Like I'm like, yeah, dope. Show me the contracts and let me have my guys look over it.
Yeah. So it's funny you mentioned that.
Yeah.
One of the things that I'm doing with the Kirio House brand
Yeah.
is looking for those sort of boring businesses that intermingle with real estate as a whole.
Yeah, you mentioned that.
And I think, dude, I'm telling you, when you really just sit and think,
right,
the shit you can come up with
yeah,
is awesome.
Yeah.
And so I was like, you know, let's
100%. Yeah, and we've talked about one or two of those lines.
Yeah.
So.
And I love it. And dude, we could sit and talk for hours. I know you're a busy guy. You got stuff to do.
We're wrapping it up.
But
get almost 90 minutes here pretty soon.
If someone wants to reach out to you and talk to you more about branding, marketing, or any of this stuff, how do they get in contact with you? They should already know because he already said it, but
should already know in town. Yeah. Like, and this is, a bit of the personal thing. So, you know, Glasses Beard, followthebeard.com. That's anywhere. And I give that one. And again, our umbrella is so much bigger than that, but that's like such a personal source to contact me in. It's like you're getting to know me before you get into all the corporate stuff.
Yeah.
So that's followthebeard.com. It has TikTok. It has anything. You can figure out how goofy I am before anybody calls or discusses anything. As far as marketing and development, the company name is SCOR Marketing and Development, SCOR, Marketing and Development. And that website is scormedia.com. So
awesome.
We'll rock it out.
Sonny, dude, I can't thank you enough.
Yeah.
I'm going to chat with me, man.
It's been great.
Every
Thank you guys.
freaking time we get together and talk, I take so much away from it. Like,
good. Well, me
seriously.
too, man. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's an excitement that you generate, and I think this is gonna be just a great addition to.
It's gonna be killer.
And Rod's got the skills, so
dude, Rod
shout out
is
to
a
Rod.
freaking powerhouse. Yeah. Rod.
Saw some of his videos earlier. Thanks,
Sonny,
Craig.
brother. Thank you.
Appreciate it.
All right, man. You too.
Yep.